Imagine being a country music legend, adored by millions, with the world at your feet, and yet dying penniless. For these country icons, that tragic end wasn't just a downfall. It was a harsh reality that many of us still don't know about. The very fame that made them legends also led to their financial ruin and eventual demise. Stick around, because the shocking truth behind their bankruptcies will change how you see the lives of these music giants forever. Johnny Paycheck was the embodiment of the outlaw spirit of country music. With his hit, "Take This Job and Shove It," Paycheck became a voice for the working man and a symbol of defiance. He was the voice that many felt represented their frustrations, a true reflection of the working class who were tired of being pushed around. But behind the scenes, his wild lifestyle was unraveling everything he had worked for. Paycheck's rebellious attitude wasn't just for show. It was a way of life that ultimately led to his downfall. Excessive drinking, drug use, and reckless spending became Paycheck's norm. He was notorious for his run-ins with the law, his unpredictable behavior, and his inability to keep his finances in check. As his fame grew, so did his problems, and soon he was caught in a cycle of addiction and financial mismanagement. Paycheck's substance abuse issues led to erratic behavior that alienated friends and collaborators. His once promising career began to suffer as his reputation for being unreliable grew. Paycheck faced numerous legal troubles, including charges related to drugs, assault, and even shooting a man in a bar altercation. These incidents only added to his notoriety, but also drained his finances. He ended up serving time in prison, which further derailed his career. By the time he was released, the world had moved on, and Paycheck found it increasingly difficult to regain his footing in the music industry. The combination of legal fees, poor financial management, and a lack of steady income pushed him into multiple bankruptcies, leaving him in financial ruin. In his final years, Johnny Paycheck struggled to make ends meet. He continued to perform wherever he could, but the glory days were long behind him. The once iconic voice of rebellion was now a man grappling with the harsh realities of his choices. He performed at small venues and relied on the goodwill of fans and friends to get by. Despite his struggles, Paycheck never lost his passion for music, and he continued to sing about the hardships of life, something he knew all too well. When Johnny Paycheck passed away at the age of 64, he left behind a legacy that was as troubled as it was influential. He was a cautionary tale of how the very traits that make someone a star can also lead to their downfall if left unchecked. Paycheck's music spoke to the struggles of the working class, but his life story is a sobering reminder that fame isn't always synonymous with fortune. His influence on the outlaw country movement is undeniable, and his songs continue to resonate with those who feel marginalized or disillusioned by society. However, his personal life serves as a stark example of the dangers of excess and the importance of having a strong support system. Hank Williams Sr. is one of the most iconic names in country music history, often referred to as the father of modern country. His hits like "Your Cheatin' Heart" and "Hey, Good Lookin'" became anthems for a generation and cemented his place as a country music legend. His songwriting spoke to the hearts of many, blending raw emotion with relatable storytelling that resonated deeply with listeners. His influence on the genre is immeasurable, and even today, his songs continue to be covered by artists who admire his talent and legacy. But behind the music was a man struggling with his own demons. Hank battled alcoholism, which often spiraled out of control, leading to erratic behavior and missed performances. His addiction was fueled by chronic back pain, for which he received inadequate medical care. The combination of substance abuse and ongoing health issues not only impacted his career, but also drained him financially. He was frequently unable to perform due to his health, resulting in canceled shows and lost income, which further exacerbated his financial troubles. Despite his incredible success on the charts, Hank Williams Sr. struggled with financial management. The pressures of fame, combined with his personal issues, left him unable to properly manage his earnings. He spent lavishly during his short bursts of success, but the money quickly ran out due to his inability to consistently perform and his lack of financial foresight. His financial instability was further worsened by his failed relationships. Hank's tumultuous marriage to Audrey Shepard was riddled with conflict, and their divorce added to his already overwhelming debt. The stress from his personal life only seemed to drive Hank further into his addictions. Hank's tragic death at just 29 years old, in the back of a car on his way to a performance, marked the untimely end of a promising career. He died alone, en route to a New Year's Day show, leaving many unanswered questions, including what might have been if he had conquered his demons and found stability. His death was a shock to the music world, and his fans mourned the loss of a star who had so much more to give. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the heavy toll that fame can take on even the most talented individuals. His legacy lives on, but his financial woes serve as a powerful reminder of the high cost of fame. Hank Williams, Sr.'s story is not just about his musical genius. It is also about the very real struggles that lurk beneath the surface of his success. His influence on country music is profound, shaping the genre for decades to come. However, his life also serves as a cautionary tale of how the pressures of fame, coupled with personal demons and inadequate support, can lead to a tragic downfall. Even with all his talent and success, Hank was unable to escape the struggles that ultimately led to his demise. His story continues to resonate, reminding us of both the beauty of his music and the heartbreaking reality of his life. Tammy Wynette, the First Lady of country music, captured hearts with her emotional ballads like Stand By Your Man and Divorce. Her powerful voice and raw emotion made her a beloved figure in country music, with a career that seemed to touch on the universal struggles of love and heartbreak. But behind the spotlight, Tammy's life was far from glamorous. While her music spoke of resilience and strength, her personal life was filled with struggles that were anything but easy. Multiple failed marriages, including her tumultuous relationship with fellow country legend George Jones, took a significant toll on her finances and emotional well-being. The public often saw Tammy and George as the ultimate country couple, but behind closed doors, their relationship was filled with conflict, substance abuse, and emotional turmoil. Their tumultuous marriage led to a series of separations and reconciliations, which added strain to Tammy's already fragile emotional state. As if the challenges in her personal life weren't enough, Tammy also faced severe health problems. She underwent numerous surgeries over the years, often linked to chronic pain that plagued her for much of her adult life. These health issues not only affected her ability to perform consistently, but also led to mounting medical bills that put a strain on her finances. By the 1980s, her financial situation had deteriorated to the point where she was forced to file for bankruptcy. Poor financial decisions further compounded her troubles. Tammy, like many artists, placed her trust in individuals who did not always have her best interests at heart. Bad investments, a lack of financial oversight, and a series of poor business deals drained her resources, leaving her vulnerable to financial instability. Despite her enormous talent and success, Tammy faced ongoing financial struggles until her death in 1998, at just 55 years old. She continued to perform through the pain, often relying on painkillers to get through her shows, which only worsened her health in the long run. Tammy's story is a heartbreaking example of how even the brightest stars can face darkness behind the scenes. Her life was a stark contrast to the strong, resilient persona she portrayed in her music. While she sang of standing by her man and overcoming life's challenges, she was quietly battling her own demons, struggles that ultimately took a heavy toll on her. Despite all of her challenges, Tammy remained a beloved figure in country music, admired for her perseverance and her willingness to share her vulnerabilities through her songs. In the end, Tammy Wynette's legacy is twofold. She was both an icon of strength for many women and a tragic figure who, despite her success, could not escape the hardships that life threw at her. Her music continues to inspire, but her personal story serves as a reminder of the cost of fame and the importance of having a solid support system. Tammy's journey highlights the often unseen struggles that come with stardom, the financial instability, the health battles, and the emotional turmoil that fame cannot shield one from. Her legacy endures, not just in the music she left behind, but also in the lessons her life teaches about the vulnerabilities of even the most seemingly powerful individuals. Jerry Lee Lewis, though primarily known for his rock and roll hits, made a significant impact on country music as well. His fiery piano playing and wild performances earned him fame and a reputation as one of the most electrifying performers of his time. His career was filled with highs, But it was his controversial personal life that ultimately led to his downfall. Scandals, most notably his infamous marriage to his 13-year-old cousin, tarnished his reputation and led to widespread backlash. The public and the music industry alike shunned him, and many radio stations refused to play his music, leading to a steep decline in his career prospects. Despite attempts to make a comeback, Lewis struggled to regain the success he once enjoyed. His career woes were further compounded by financial mismanagement. A string of failed marriages drained his resources, and his lavish lifestyle left him with mounting debts. Lewis was known for his extravagant spending habits, from luxury cars to a sprawling ranch. But as his career faltered, these expenses became unsustainable. His reckless financial decisions, combined with the costs of multiple divorces, left him in dire financial straits. In addition to his financial troubles, Lewis faced serious health issues later in life. Years of hard living took a toll on his body. His relentless touring schedule, substance abuse, and the physical demands of his high-energy performances led to numerous health problems. He suffered from a series of ailments, including a near-fatal stomach perforation in the early 1980s, which required extensive medical treatment. The medical bills piled up, adding yet another layer to his financial difficulties. Lewis faced bankruptcy multiple times throughout his life. Despite his best efforts to rebuild his career, he found it difficult to recover from the financial and personal blows that had accumulated over the years. He continued to perform into his later years, often playing small venues and relying on the loyalty of his longtime fans to stay afloat. The once great star, who had once performed on the biggest stages in the world, was now struggling to make ends meet. In his later years, Jerry Lee Lewis grappled with both financial instability and declining health. He experienced strokes that further limited his ability to perform, and the medical expenses continued to drain what little he had left. By the time he passed away, he had far less than what he had amassed during the peak of his fame. Yet, despite all the controversies and the financial hardships, his contributions to music, both country and rock, are undeniable. Jerry Lee Lewis was a pioneer, and his influence can still be seen in the generations of musicians who followed. His fiery spirit and unbridled talent left a lasting mark on the music world, even if his personal life was marred by scandal and financial ruin. His story is a powerful reminder of the fleeting nature of fame and the high price that often comes with it. Merle Haggard was a defining voice in country music, with hits like Okie from Muskogee and Mama Tried that spoke to the heart of America. His music was a reflection of his own life, raw, real, and deeply personal. Haggard's journey was far from easy. He spent time in prison as a young man, an experience that would shape much of his songwriting and give his music an authenticity that resonated with millions. His songs often depicted the struggles of the working class, the downtrodden, and those who, like him, had faced adversity. Despite his incredible success, Merle Haggard struggled with addiction throughout his life. Alcohol and drugs became a coping mechanism for the pressures of fame and the hardships he had faced growing up. These addictions took a toll on his health, his relationships, and his finances. Haggard's lifestyle led to several poor financial decisions, and he found himself in debt multiple times. He was often forced to keep touring well into his later years, not just out of love for music, but out of necessity to pay off debts and support his family. The constant need to perform put an enormous strain on his health, but he continued because it was all he knew. Haggard's financial troubles were compounded by legal issues. He faced numerous tax problems over the years, partly due to mismanagement and partly due to the complexities of the music business. The IRS came after him more than once, and he had to sell off assets to cover his debts. Despite earning millions over his career, Haggard found himself struggling to manage his finances effectively, and the consequences were dire. His marriages also added to his financial woes. Haggard was married 5 times, and the cost of multiple divorces further drained his resources. Even as he continued to produce hits and perform to packed audiences, Merle Haggard faced financial instability. The life of a musician, especially one as prolific as Haggard, was expensive, and the revenue from his music was often not enough to cover his growing expenses. He was known for his generosity, often helping friends and family in need, but this also contributed to his financial difficulties. He lived a life that was as much about giving as it was about creating, and while this endeared him to many, it left him vulnerable to financial hardship. When Merle passed away in 2016, his estate was left in turmoil. The debts he had accumulated over the years and the complexities of his financial situation meant that his family had to deal with significant legal and financial challenges. The turmoil surrounding his estate was a stark reminder of the struggles that had plagued him throughout his career, despite his status as a country music legend. His death marked the end of an era, but it also brought to light the often unseen hardships that even the most successful artists face. Yet, despite all the challenges he faced, Haggard's influence on country music remains profound. He was a storyteller, and his songs continue to inspire new generations of musicians who see in his work a reflection of their own struggles and hopes. His legacy is not just in the music he left behind, but also in the authenticity and honesty with which he lived his life. Haggard's story is a reminder that fame and success do not shield one from hardship. His music spoke to the resilience of the human spirit, and even though he faced countless obstacles, he never stopped creating. His legacy endures, not only in the hits that continue to be played, but in the way he touched the lives of those who heard his story and found a piece of themselves within it. The stories of Johnny Paycheck, Hank Williams Sr., Tammy Wynette, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Merle Haggard all show that fame and fortune don't always go together. These legends gave everything to their music, but their personal lives were marked by struggles that led to financial ruin. Behind the glittering lights of fame, there was a darkness that few ever saw. Their tragic ends remind us of the vulnerabilities of even the most iconic figures.